Webinar is live now. Hi, Julian. Julian, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Sorry about that. I had a bit of a panic. I remember the email, but I didn't save it.
That's okay.
But I'm all good now.
How are you?
Yeah, good, thank you.
That's great. So just quick. I will be starting the presentation and then I will be handed over to Anna, followed by Alex, then Lauren, and then you. And when you finished, we will be opening the session for questions from our attendees. Okay?
Okay, great.
Oh, so you will be able to share your screen. So if you have a presentation, you can share with everyone. The only thing that I'm asking you all is to do it as quick, the better, to have time for our attendees to make the questions.
Yeah, and that's me in a nutshell. I've made it very quick because I would like to engage with questions here. And yeah, no, that's great. Okay, we're ready to rock and roll.
Great, that's great. So we'll just wait a little bit more. We have everyone coming in. Boa noite, todo mundo. Só estou dando um minutinho para a gente entrar ao vivo no Facebook. Just waiting for 1 second and then we go live on Facebook as well. Now I have people coming in. All right, so let's start. Não, peraí. Agora eu me perdi. Ana, o que você está vendo na minha tela?
Peraí. A apresentação, mas não em formato apresentação, como se você fosse editar. Acho que é só você colocar no formato apresentação agora.
Eu acho que eu me encontrei. E agora? Tudo certo? Vamos lá. Boa noite todo mundo. Hello everyone. Thank you everyone for being here. Thank you, Julian from Lincoln University. Thank you, Alexandra from Waikato University. Lauren from University of Otago. Ana, Education New Zealand. Muito obrigado pela presença de vocês. Thank you very much for your all being here. Kátia e Keila, do nosso time aí de Acers da Australian Center, que estão conosco também, nos ajudando aí no background, respondendo as perguntas dos nossos visitantes, dos nossos espectadores. Então, obrigada também pela ajuda de vocês e pela participação. E boa noite a todos vocês que estão aí, que vão participar com a gente desse segundo dia do New Zealand Week. Muito obrigada pela presença de vocês. Desculpa aí esse atrasinho que a gente teve, mas agora já está tudo resolvido. Tivemos uns probleminhas técnicos. Bom, ontem a gente começou o nosso New Zealand Week, foi um sucesso. Espero que vocês também gostem do nosso bate-papo hoje. A gente está aqui trazendo várias informações sobre a Nova Zelândia, informações sobre viver o sonho Nova Zelândia, estudar na Nova Zelândia. E me apresentando, eu sou a Dani, trabalho na AC. A AC é uma empresa de intercâmbio especializada em Oceania, com quase 20 anos aí de história. Nós temos aí hoje, não sei dizer quantos estudantes já viajaram conosco para a Nova Zelândia, para a Oceania. Então, hoje nós temos no Brasil mais ou menos aí 8, 9 lojas. É até difícil, até perdi as contas, a gente está tão online hoje em dia, né? A gente não tem mais loja, a gente não fala mais, faz 6 meses que eu não falo em lojas, eu falo em colaboradores, falo dos meus colegas colaboradores, as pessoas, né? Então, a gente tem aí várias lojas espalhadas no Brasil que está de portas, vão estar sempre de portas abertas, telefones abertos para ajudar todos vocês aí em todos os processos, todo momento na hora do intercâmbio, na busca dos programas, quaisquer cursos que sejam cursos de inglês, PhD, high school, bacharelado, pós-graduação, vistos, tradução, acomodação, passagem aérea, seguro, traslado, compras de moeda. A gente organiza vários encontros como esse, workshops, palestras, presta assistência em todos os momentos durante os projetos. E a gente tem no nosso no nosso escritório um departamento, que é o departamento de vistos, e a gente tem uma pessoa que é especializada em ajudar o estudante a montar um plano de estudos para viabilizar uma carreira internacional. Então, a gente faz isso de uma maneira muito personalizada e é uma coisa muito bacana que a gente faz dentro da AC para que a experiência do aluno e para que o futuro de vocês seja, assim, incrível. Eu adoro essa palavra, incrível, fora do Brasil, para que vocês tenham o melhor da Nova Zelândia, tá? Bom, falar sobre a Nova Zelândia não é nem um pouco difícil, mas eu não vou nem me meter a falar da Nova Zelândia, só tenho uma expert aqui para falar da Nova Zelândia, que é a Ana. Ana, agora eu vou passar o meu bastão para você, porque não vou correr o risco aqui de repente, falar alguma coisa que você que está aí do outro lado do mundo, né, em Wellington, 10h30 da manhã, um dia lindo, então vou passar aí para você falar um pouquinho para a gente sobre a Nova Zelândia. Você está muda. Você consegue dividir sua tela?
Obrigada, Dani, consigo. Queria aproveitar enquanto eu divido a tela aqui, só agradecer você, agradecer a presença de todo mundo. Tomara que dê certo. Deu certo?
Deu certo, deu certo.
So, desculpa. Só agradecer a presença de todo mundo, mandar um que a hora conta para todo mundo. E então, vamos lá, assim a gente não perde tempo. Então, bom, como a Dani disse, meu nome é Ana, trabalho para Education New Zealand. Eu vou falar de maneira um pouco institucionalmente da Nova Zelândia como um destino de educação e as universidades vão, logicamente, dar os detalhes mais interessantes sobre cada instituição, o que eles têm para oferecer. Então, queria começar falando um pouquinho quem somos nós, quem que é a Education New Zealand. A gente é uma agência do Governo da Nova Zelândia e o nosso trabalho está ligado a todos os aspectos da internacionalização do ensino no país. Para o Brasil, a gente tem a Bruna, que fica em São Paulo, que está online hoje também, a Bruna de Natali, eu estou aqui na Nova Zelândia. E dentro desse trabalho que a gente faz com as instituições de ensino na Nova Zelândia, fomentando vínculos também com instituições de ensino no Brasil, para que a mobilidade seja mais fácil, fomentando cooperação em pesquisa. A gente tem dois objetivos que são bem importantes, tanto para os estudantes domésticos aqui no país, quanto também para quem está pensando em vir estudar aqui. Um deles é garantir que a experiência do estudante, quando ele estiver aqui na Nova Zelândia, seja de excelência. Tanto da parte de bem-estar desse estudante, da experiência que ele vai ter aqui morando no país, seja por alguns meses, seja por anos, quanto, logicamente, do ponto de vista acadêmico, que essa qualificação que ele vai obter aqui no país realmente ajude ele a atingir os sonhos, os objetivos que ele está buscando. O outro objetivo que a gente tem é que a internacionalização do ensino ajude a criar esse conceito que hoje está se popularizando mais, que é o de cidadania global. Como a gente pode ser um profissional ou uma pessoa atuando no meio de diversidade cultural e mantendo esses valores que são importantes hoje globalmente. Então, vamos ver o que mais a gente tem aqui sobre a Education New Zealand. A gente tem um website, o studyingnewzealand.govt.nz. Esse é um website para estudante, para buscar opções de cursos. Nesse website também vocês encontram informação sobre a Australian Centre. A AC é uma agência com a qual a gente trabalha há anos. A Dani já estava na AC antes de eu começar a trabalhar na Education New Zealand. Foi uma das primeiras pessoas que eu conheci trabalhando com educação internacional, mas eu sou bem mais velha que ela começou cedo. E a AC tem, a gente gosta de destacar, a gente valoriza muito o trabalho que eles fazem, e eles têm dois selos que são super importantes. Um é do Education New Zealand Recognized Agency, e o outro é do Elite Agent, o que quer dizer que eles são das poucas agências que podem trabalhar com todas as 8 universidades da Nova Zelândia. Isso quer dizer que eles têm realmente um profundo conhecimento do país, uma experiência bem longa também trabalhando com a Nova Zelândia. A outra coisa que eu queria destacar, que está um pouco ligada aos nossos objetivos, são algumas agências do governo, algumas alguns serviços que existem, o que a gente chama de garantias do governo, mostrando que a gente realmente valoriza a escolha que o estudante internacional faz em vir para a Nova Zelândia. Um deles é a New Zealand Qualification Authority. Eles são uma agência dentro do governo da Nova Zelândia, ligados também ao Ministério da Educação. Eles fazem alguns trabalhos que são bem relevantes na presença de um estudante internacional aqui, especialmente os estudantes de Higher Education. Duas coisas que eles fazem que são relevantes: eles fazem toda a parte de reconhecimento de qualificações obtidas fora da Nova Zelândia para que seja possível exercer aquela profissão aqui. Em algumas áreas esse processo pode não ser tão relevante, em outras áreas como engenharia, a medicina, esse processo é bastante importante. E eles também garantem que as qualificações emitidas pelas instituições de ensino da Nova Zelândia são aceitas no exterior, são aceitas internacionalmente. Isso garante uma coisa que é super importante hoje em dia, que é a mobilidade profissional. Quer dizer que a qualificação que você obtém aqui vai ser aceita em outros países, você pode considerar uma carreira profissional internacional. E tem uma série de outros trabalhos que eles fazem, incluindo o que eu vou falar agora, que é o Code of Practice. O Code of Practice é um documento criado pela Nova Zelândia, e a Nova Zelândia foi o primeiro país no mundo a criar esse tipo de documento voltado para o bem-estar do estudante internacional. Então, tem todas as questões acadêmicas, as questões de qualidade de ensino, que as instituições são responsáveis juntamente com o Ministério da Educação, mas o bem-estar do estudante também é uma responsabilidade que a instituição assume. Então, esse bem-estar é físico, é psicológico, está ligado à acomodação que ele vai ter, está ligado a se adaptar ao sistema de ensino no país. Estudantes mais novos, mais velhos vão ter necessidades diferentes, mas o importante é que sempre vai ter um time dentro da instituição de ensino preparado para ajudar o estudante quando ele já estiver aqui na Nova Zelândia com as necessidades dele, para que ele possa realmente render o máximo e ter a melhor experiência possível no país. Agora eu vou falar um pouquinho sobre a Nova Zelândia como país. Eu não vou falar muito de onde a gente está ou de paisagens do lado de turismo, porque hoje o nosso foco é em educação, mas eu vou falar de algumas coisas que são do país e que vão influenciar na sua experiência aqui na Nova Zelândia. Uma das coisas que eu acho mais legal que a Nova Zelândia tem para oferecer é esse ambiente de diversidade. Hoje são mais de 200 nacionalidades vivendo no país. A Nova Zelândia é um país jovem, é um país de imigração recente, então essa diversidade cultural é muito presente nas cidades, mas também onde a gente acha que é muito importante é em sala de aula. E o valor que essa diversidade traz é o conhecimento, o background, o conhecimento, a parte cultural que cada estudante internacional contribui em sala de aula, maneiras diferentes de ver as coisas, maneiras diferentes de lidar com problemas, soluções inovadoras. Essa diversidade contribui em muito para tornar o aprendizado mais interessante e também mais aberta, com mais opções. Hoje em dia, cerca de 10 a 15% dos estudantes das universidades da Nova Zelândia são estudantes internacionais, e isso a gente conta só o estudante que saiu do país dele de origem para vir estudar aqui. A gente não está contando as pessoas que já estão na Nova Zelândia como residentes ou por alguma outra razão. Então, essa variedade de nacionalidades é ainda maior do que esses 10 ou 15%. A outra coisa que eu queria falar é sobre a qualidade de vida na Nova Zelândia. A qualidade de ensino é importante, é o objetivo principal de vir para cá, mas a qualidade de vida, esse tempo que a gente vai passar fora de sala de aula, também tem que ser aproveitado e também tem que ser desfrutado. E é uma das melhores partes da experiência também. Nova Zelândia é considerada já há alguns anos como o país com menor índice de corrupção em todo o mundo. Isso tem um impacto direto na qualidade do ensino, é lógico, na segurança pública, o que leva a gente ao segundo ranking que eu quero falar, que é a Nova Zelândia considerada como o segundo país mais pacífico do mundo. Esse pacífico entra em questões domésticas como segurança pública, mas também em questões de política internacional. E uma coisa que pouca gente sabe, a Nova Zelândia é considerado o segundo país com maior número de empreendedores. E as universidades vão falar Disso também eu tenho certeza, porque o ambiente dentro da universidade propicia essa visão inovadora, esse empreendedorismo. Isso é uma das coisas que eles oferecem para os estudantes, a possibilidade de também enveredar por esse caminho. A outra coisa que eu vou falar, e agora sim, fala sobre educação. Uma coisa que a gente tem muito orgulho de falar da Nova Zelândia. A Nova Zelândia é considerada, é o terceiro ano desse ranking do The Economist, e a Nova Zelândia é considerada como o primeiro país entre os países de língua inglesa, como o país que melhor prepara os estudantes para o futuro. Entre todos os países analisados, a Nova Zelândia está em terceiro lugar. Eu coloquei até a tabelinha ali para mostrar. Mas hoje em dia tem tanta discussão das profissões do futuro, de como vai ser, o quanto a tecnologia vai impactar as profissões, ou mesmo a experiência pessoal de cada um, de como o cenário está mudando. A gente está vivendo essa mudança agora, pela pandemia, mas a gente está vivendo uma grande mudança agora na parte profissional, na parte de relações, mas eu queria mostrar um pouquinho, então, o que é esse educar para o futuro, o que é que a organização que analisa esse ranking leva em conta. Aqui a gente tem alguns dos que são considerados os skills que vão ser necessários para o futuro, os skills que as grandes empresas vão procurar nos profissionais, ou que os profissionais vão precisar para também serem os empreendedores do futuro. O principal que eu queria destacar é essa parte do pensamento crítico. Quanto mais a gente estiver envolvido com tecnologia, quanto mais a gente tiver acesso à informação, mais esse pensamento crítico vai ser importante. Questionar sempre, não aceitar fatos só porque alguém disse, ou porque aquela mensagem chegou, porque alguém mandou uma notícia. Questionar tudo que aparece para a gente, tudo que a gente é apresentado. Tem um livro que eu gosto muito que chama Uma Boa Pergunta, que mostra a gente deveria se perguntar mais sobre as perguntas que a gente faz do que sobre as respostas que a gente dá. Questionar, às vezes, é mais importante do que ter a resposta certa para uma pergunta que alguém faz para a gente. Outra coisa que é super importante hoje em dia são esses valores globais de consciência social. A gente vê um movimento dos consumidores cada vez mais questionando as empresas sobre as ações que as empresas têm na comunidade, a relação que eles têm com a comunidade, de onde vem aquele produto, o quão orgânico o quanto dano está causando para o meio ambiente. Então, ter essas questões globais em mente é super importante. E uma coisa, a última que eu queria destacar, bom, liderança sempre é importante, mas esse impacto da tecnologia. Tecnologia hoje afeta absolutamente todas as áreas profissionais e a gente tem que saber lidar com a tecnologia na medida que ela for transformando as áreas que a gente for trabalhar. Falando de ranking de universidade, a gente também gosta muito de dizer que as 8 universidades da Nova Zelândia são hoje consideradas ranqueadas entre os 2,5% ou as 500 melhores de todo o mundo. E mais importante do que o ranking das universidades, a gente gosta de destacar que existem áreas de estudo dentro dessas universidades que hoje são classificadas entre as 50 melhores do mundo. O QS é uma organização que faz esse ranking, eles analisam 1.000 universidades. Para você pensar que entre essas 1.000 universidades, a gente tem vários cursos, várias carreiras que estão classificados entre os 50 melhores do mundo. É uma grande conquista por parte das universidades do país. E acho que a outra coisa importante de falar, que eu já mencionei um pouquinho antes, é o trabalho que a gente faz aproximando as universidades do Brasil e da Nova Zelândia para que exista mais mobilidade acadêmica, mais cooperação, facilite também o processo de reconhecimento das qualificações, mas é importante ter essa mobilidade, esse trânsito entre os dois países. Em termos de ranking ainda, tem várias coisas que as pessoas não conhecem muito sobre a Nova Zelândia. A Nova Zelândia é um país super inovador, que faz muito uso de tecnologia. A gente teve um webinar a semana passada sobre agtech, sobre o impacto da tecnologia na agricultura, e tecnologia aqui impacta em vários setores da economia. Nova Zelândia hoje é considerada um dos primeiros países do mundo em número de patentes e também entre os primeiros do mundo pela contribuição para a ciência e tecnologia. Além das universidades, também tem vários centros de pesquisa que trabalham todos em conjunto. Existe todo um network de pesquisa e investigação aqui na Nova Zelândia que o estudante internacional pode ter acesso e pode desfrutar. E por último, os benefícios para os estudantes internacionais, em termos de enquanto o estudante está estudando, fazendo o curso dele, se for um estudante de graduação, aqui eu coloquei só graduação, mas na verdade é graduação e acima, ele vai ter permissão de trabalho part-time enquanto ele estiver estudando e vai poder trabalhar full-time durante as férias. Só explicando, quando a gente fala part-time, full-time, cursos full-time, a gente está falando de 4 a 5 horas diárias, assim, porque às vezes quando a gente fala o estudo full time, parece que está estudando de manhã até à tarde, então na verdade são 4 ou 5 horas e geralmente o seu horário vai ser flexível. Mas cursos de graduação permitem o trabalho durante o estudo. Quem faz mestrado ou doutorado, existe também a possibilidade do partner ter um visto de trabalho, esse vai ser um visto de trabalho full-time durante o mesmo tempo de estudos do estudante, e os filhos de quem tem visto de trabalho podem estudar gratuitamente nas escolas públicas até o final do ensino médio. Por último, e esse é específico para estudante de doutorado, todos os estudantes internacionais de doutorado na Nova Zelândia são considerados estudantes domésticos, o que quer dizer que em termos de investimento, o investimento que eles fazem é o mesmo que um estudante neozelandês faria, em torno de 5 a 6 mil dólares americanos por ano de doutorado. Tem variações aí, mas é meio uma faixa só para dar uma ideia. Quando a gente compara esse valor com os valores cobrados por outros países, principalmente os países de língua inglesa, a gente vê que esse valor realmente é super baixo num cenário global. E é muito importante também enfatizar que nesse sentido o governo dá para o estudante internacional a mesma condição, o mesmo status que um estudante neozelandês desfruta no país. O último slide, o benefício pós-estudo, e eu acho que é uma parte bem importante de destacar, todos os estudantes de graduação e pós-graduação, eles têm 3 anos de visto de trabalho pós-estudo. Isso é bem bacana porque dá para vocês a possibilidade de não só ter uma qualificação internacional, mas também de começar uma carreira profissional internacional. Tem 3 anos para trabalhar aqui na Nova Zelândia. Nova Zelândia, sendo esse ambiente tão diverso, também tem muitas multinacionais, enfim. Daqui vocês podem, depois desses 3 anos, tem a opção de voltar para o país de origem, voltar para o Brasil, começar uma carreira internacional em algum outro país ou continuar aqui na Nova Zelândia mesmo. E os cursos técnicos, os cursos vocacionais também dão direito a esse visto de trabalho pós-estudo, um visto um pouquinho mais curto, mas que também permite ter essa experiência internacional da mesma maneira. Então, essa era a minha parte. Agora, Dani, você pega daqui, eu paro de compartilhar a tela, como que eu faço?
Agora Lauren. Não, Alex. Alex.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. Right. Thank you so much, Anna and Danny, for the introduction. So my name is Alex O'Reilly and I am the International Marketing and Recruitment Manager at the University of Waikato. Good evening to you all and kia ora here from New Zealand. So I promise that I will keep this presentation very brief. I'm just going to cover a few of the key points about the university, and I look forward to speaking with you later for your more in-depth questions. So firstly, I just wanted to cover a little bit about setting the scene for the university. When we talk about New Zealand, there's cities that are quite well known in comparison to others, and I think for us we really try to share the student journey from the city perspective as well, as our university really embraces some of the benefits of the city living and kind of the key areas of growth in the 2 cities as well. So our main campus is located in Hamilton. It is our largest campus of the the two, and the city itself is the 4th largest in New Zealand. It's a very growing and quickly developing city and region, and I'll explain a little bit of that as we go through. So Hamilton is part of the Golden Triangle in New Zealand. So that sits between Auckland City, the largest city in New Zealand, and perhaps some of you are familiar with that. And it also sits between Tauranga, which is where our second campus is located. So being part of the Golden Triangle means we have a very high contribution to New Zealand's GDP overall. And feeding into that is the development of a major freight and logistics hub right near the city centre, which will generate 12,000 potential jobs. So for students who are looking at supply chain or logistics, there's obviously growing opportunity in that industry. And aligning with that is an advanced centre for innovation and manufacturing. So we expect will become quite a significant hub in the future. And as you know, exporting for New Zealand is one of our largest industries. Agribusiness. So the Waikato is famous for its advancement in the agribusiness industry. So we've got things from very generous farming and soil, and a lot of students are quite interested in the environment, the impact of animals on the environment, and also the ability to look after the impact of tourism on the environment. So we have lots of opportunities there for students who are interested in those areas, and in particular our campus in Tauranga, which is right on the coastline, has a centre which is dedicated to marine preservation. You might not know, but Hamilton has one of the highest ratios of scientists per capita in the whole world. And that feeds back into, the development of our innovation hub, which will sit alongside our port. And also we are home to some of the leading science and research facilities. So for us and our students, there's heaps of opportunities when we are looking at work placement opportunities. The Waikato district has the largest teaching hospital in the Southern Hemisphere. We don't have the traditional, health science roots that, say, someone like Otago has, but we are looking at pulling that down a level and looking at, sport needs, physiology, nutrition, and kind of the psychology around sport and rehabilitation. So we're really lucky to have that connection with the District Health Board as well. And the field days, you may not know about it, but it is the largest agricultural event in the Southern Hemisphere. And it's usually a centre for businesses in the agricultural industry to promote their innovation. So something which we're quite proud of to have here in Hamilton as well. Now, our second campus is in Tauranga. It is the 5th largest and the fastest growing city across New Zealand. If you've ever had the luxury to travel to Tauranga, you'd know why. It is a beautiful city that is wrapped around a coastal line of very golden sandy beaches. So it's very popular for a lot of people. We're finding people from other cities are quite attracted to come, a lot of retirees, but also a fantastic student body as well. And that aligns with the new CBD campus that we opened in 2019. Tauranga itself, it's a world-class producer of plant-based foods. So it is the largest producer of kiwi fruit. So 80% of New Zealand exports come from the Bay of Plenty region where Tauranga is based. And of course, avocado and honey. It is home to New Zealand's largest commercial seaport. So as I mentioned before, it's part of that golden triangle between Hamilton and Auckland, and the port in Tauranga is larger than the Auckland city port. So as you can see, there's lots of opportunity as well within that industry. Of course, there's a multitude of leading industries in the Bay of Plenty or Tauranga region, horticulture, marine biotechnology, tourism and education. And these are all areas that we pick up at the university, and also that we develop with you as a student and that industry connection throughout your student journey as well as when you graduate. As I mentioned before, it's just a really beautiful place to be, and a second campus that we're really trying to encourage more international students to consider, particularly if they are in some of those horticultural areas or marine biotechnology. That would be where we would recommend you study. So to summarise, why should you look at studying in one of these world-class destinations? Both Hamilton and Tauranga really prepare you to be work ready. Hamilton itself, we have a really young, smart and innovative population. We have leading technology fields, and we're really at the forefront of a lot of development in the innovation industry. And we really centre on real world learning. So sometimes there's an understanding about universities that, you're based in the classroom all the time and you don't get out and about, but that's not true. We really prepare you through connection with industries, through connections with volunteering, and there's internship opportunities embedded in most of our programs as well. So we try to make university the academic excellence and also industry really accessible. So you're learning those skills and those attributes in the classroom. You've got access to world-class academics, and then you also get to engage with industry and apply your skills in a real-world setting. So really exciting for us to have such a strong connection with industry. And of course, for those of you who are a bit more cost sensitive, we are lucky to have accommodation that, when you look generally across other New Zealand cities, not all of them, but for some of the larger centres, we are a lot cheaper to live as well. And we have dedicated student accommodation areas that are very close to the university. So it makes that student experience for you a little bit easier. So just a couple of slides left to summarise why us a bit more directly. And this is talking about where some of our strengths are in subject areas. So our most popular faculty is our Waikato Management School, and we have a Triple Crown accreditation. We are one of 4 New Zealand universities and have held that for the longest period of time. So that's a mark of excellence that places us in the top 1% of business schools worldwide. And we have a number of other globally ranked subject areas. So you can see quite a few in business, but also within the arts and social sciences, and also in education, where we are in the top 150. And education was the founding faculty of the university. So it's great to see that we continue to lead in that field there as well. And finally, just a little bit about the university, the culture and the experience. So we have the largest campus in New Zealand. It's 65 hectares in size. The benefit of that to you as a student, it is a comprehensive campus. So all accommodation options, student services, facilities, our medical centre, and all of our teaching blocks are located on the one campus. And that is the same for our campus in Tauranga as well. So there's no concern for you about having to make your way between different areas or different accommodation units. You can come to the university, relax, knowing that everything is catered for you there. We are a relatively small university compared to other providers in New Zealand. So we have just over 13,000 students in total, including 2,500 international students. So looking at that stat, you may think, wow, that, probably I can see myself resonating with, lots of other international students, which is great. There's, diversity across many different countries in the world. But the benefit of having a smaller university is intimacy between yourself as a student and the academics. So access to lecturers and access to your tutors and access to research facilities and equipment, it's available to you because you're not competing with so many other students. So we really encourage that open door policy between you as the student and your lecturer or tutor. Of course, we have dedicated academic and pastoral care support that is from before you arrive to the university, from day one at the university, and then through to your graduation as well. So a lot of our international students like to take advantage of the services that our International Student Services Office provide, all the way through to our career development services, who help you with that kind of industry placement and also your graduation opportunities. As I mentioned previously before, all of our bachelor degrees include an internship or industry experience, and a number of our key master programs do as well. And we have dedicated support staff at the university to assist you with this. And finally, but not certainly something to brush over, international scholarships and bursaries. So we offer a number of key scholarships and bursaries for our international students across all areas of the pathway, so pre-degree through to PhD study. We're also offering a special bursary at the moment in consideration of current New Zealand border closures. We will be offering a 20% discount to all of our offshore students who intend to study online with us from C trimester 2020. So I'll leave it there for now, but please feel free to ask any questions at the end of the session. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Alex. Now, I'm just asking everyone to ask questions at the end. I think it'll be easier. Yes, Lauren, is up to you now. So, oh, yes.
Perfect, thank you. Well, kia ora. Hello, my name is Lauren and I'm the Regional Market Manager for the Americas here at the University of Otago. So I'll just give a bit of an overview and try and highlight a few key points and also some particular courses that may be of interest. All right, so first off, I did just want to point out where the University of Otago is located. So we are in the city of Dunedin, which is in the lower South Island, so on the southeast coast there. And hopefully you see that image is a nice bird's eye view over the city. So we're in a beautiful spot with a harbour and beaches and mountains close by. So that is where we are primarily located. In terms of the city of Dunedin, we are not a large city. Our population is about 131,000 people, but 25,000 of those are actually made up of students. So we are very much an educational city. You'll see on the slide there that Dunedin does have the youngest population in New Zealand, where 45% of our residents are under the age of 30. And that is because we are a true, as I said, educational city and destination university. We have people from all over New Zealand and all over the world who choose to come to Dunedin for their studies. Even though we're not a big city, there is a lot going on. Generally, we've got really good rankings and reviews in terms of lifestyle here in Dunedin. There's plenty to do, and we're also recognised by UNESCO as a creative city. So certainly if you like coffee and the outdoors and a relaxed pace of life, Dunedin is a great city for that. In terms of the university of Otago is New Zealand's first university. So we were established in 1869. Last year we celebrated our 150th anniversary. So by New Zealand standards, that's a long time, and we are very proud of our history and tradition. We are ranked in the top 1% of universities in the world. And as I said, we're a real destination university. So more than 85% of our students actually come from outside of the Otago or Dunedin region. We've got a large postgraduate student population, and we're right in the centre of the city. So we're like a 10-minute city. The campus is very close to beaches, to the city, to bike tracks. And we've also been ranked New Zealand's top university for overall student experience. So just a couple of things about the university in general. I did want to highlight some of our rankings. So as well as being in the top 1% of universities in the world, we have a number of single subject areas that have been highly ranked. So our sports related subjects, kinesiology, physical education, sport and exercise science, we've been ranked in the top 13 in the world, and we've got some incredible facilities at our department there. Dentistry, we're the only university that offers dentistry in New Zealand, and that's also ranked 33rd best in the world. We've just had a brand new clinical services building put together, so quite possibly at anywhere in the world right now, we have the most state-of-the-art high-tech equipment for dentistry. There's a few other subjects there, anatomy, physiology, classics, and there's a whole range of other subject areas that we rank between 50 and 100 for, so there's certainly a number of great rankings there. Our online MBA is ranked 10th best in the world, and one of the other rankings that I haven't listed there, which is not academic, is our beautiful campus has been ranked among the 15 most beautiful campuses in the world. So it is some beautiful Gothic architecture, a river running through the middle of campus, so it's certainly a beautiful place to be. I want to just walk through now some of the academic divisions and disciplines. Otago is a very comprehensive university, and we offer more than 190 undergraduate and postgraduate programs. So there is a huge number to possibly talk about, but I did want to highlight a couple that are particularly popular with international students, and we see students from overseas coming to take those. So within our business school, as I said, the MBA is an incredibly popular option. Sustainable business, so we do have a Master of Sustainable Business. That's a really popular option as well, and is great for global issues and very applied in terms of the business sustainability context. So again, this information is also on the website, but I do just want to highlight a couple in particular. Within our science division, this is a really big division, and it covers a lot of the STEM subjects or areas like that. The advantages of where we're located is that the outdoors very much is your classroom or your laboratory. So we are New Zealand's most science intensive university, which means there is a huge amount that you can do. Some of the things I did want to highlight there are our food sciences degrees, so at the undergraduate level, but also at the master's level. Marine science, anyone who's interested in the environment or the ocean has incredible access to facilities like the Polaris, which is the research vessel on the screen there. Sport education, as I mentioned. Psychology is hugely popular, but one of our other big programs is science communication. So that is generally a postgraduate qualification. So the Master of Science Communication can be taught in 3 different specialties. So we've got science and society, you've got natural history filmmaking, and also the creative non-fiction writing. So that's an incredibly popular program, and we do have a number of international students who like to take that. Otago is known for its health sciences, so we are very comprehensive in terms of medicine, dentistry, medlab, sci, and a whole range of others. But I did really want to highlight within health sciences our Master of Public Health. This again is a really globally recognised qualification. If we look at New Zealand's response to COVID-19, we've been incredibly fortunate that a number of our academics within epidemiology, public health have been key advisors to the government. So we've been really lucky to have their expertise also, but that's a very popular program and very applicable in a global context. Last but not least is our humanities division. So all of our liberal arts and social sciences. We have more than 40 options available. So it is very broad, and not everything is listed on the screen here. But again, a few that I wanted to highlight that have been particularly attractive for international students. We have a Master of Peace and Conflict Studies program. And again, that's something that is globally recognised. So that's a great option. We have a triple major, so philosophy, politics and economics. That's also a really popular option, very broad and comprehensive, and we're very well known for our law faculty. So there's certainly a huge variety there. If anyone's interested in music, we've also got a brand new state-of-the-art music building with studios and recording technology as well. In terms of life in the classroom, I did want to touch on that, and this is probably a little bit more applicable at the undergraduate or bachelor's level. So lectures generally can be quite big. We are a big university, so earlier on you might have a few more people in your class. The tutorials are broken down a little bit more, so there's a lot more one-on-one interaction. But you are taught by leading professors and academics. So the staff here are incredibly approachable. They're also very international themselves. I think we are the 5th most international faculty in the world. So you will be amongst, you know, faculty, professors from every corner of the globe. And that does make it incredibly accessible. They're very personable, and they have a really strong interest in you succeeding. So that's sort of a little bit about life in the classroom, or for that postgraduate level, you have a really close connection to your supervisor for any research programs that you would be looking to take. I have just got a slide here just with regards to application dates and admissions, but I know that Danny and the wonderful team at Australian Centre can provide details to you, and we've just got a link there with sort of details on processing. I did just want to wrap up with some information on scholarships. So we do have targeted scholarships for undergraduate students and postgraduate students. The Vice-Chancellor's scholarship for, sorry, I'm just going to turn my phone off. That was my 10-minute bell. The Vice-Chancellor's scholarship for undergraduate students, and that ranges between 5,000 and 10,000 New Zealand dollars. And we've got some new Frontier scholarships, so that's right through until the beginning of next year. In terms of postgraduate study, we do have a number of postgraduate scholarships, including our Otago International Excellence Scholarships. So that is also available for online study, so anyone who's looking to start online and potentially coming to New Zealand when borders open, we have scholarships for that as well. I don't know if you're familiar with some of our New Zealand government scholarships, but I'd also recommend students having a look at those details too. So that is my quick overview, and happy to chat at the end.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you very much. Now, the lucky last. If you didn't, are you able to share your screen? Oh, you are on mute.
Sorry, everybody. Yeah, kia ora, welcome. My name's Julian Becker. I'm the International Manager at Lincoln University in the beautiful city of Christchurch, New Zealand. My responsibilities in the International Office are around the sort of partnerships, exchange and student recruitment, particularly from the region of the Americas. I'm just going to give you a brief introduction to our beautiful city, followed by a little bit of an introduction to our university, and I'm wary that we are running out of time, so I'm going to try and keep it short. I'm just going to highlight a few programs that I've taken notice that we've had students, particularly from South America, that have applied for in the past. And I am targeting at postgraduate, so apologies for those students that are thinking about undergraduate study. But predominantly students from Brazil and from other parts of South America, predominantly our postgraduate students. So I will get started. So apologies guys, have I done the presentation here? Okay, there we go. So as I said, Lincoln University is located in the beautiful city of Christchurch, which is in the South Island. Again, I'm going to keep this quite short. So population is around about 350,000, second largest city in New Zealand. And the university itself is located on the edge of the city, so we're not in the centre of the city. But as you can see from that lovely shot from the top of Port Hills, this is looking, the Port Hills run alongside the city, and this is looking down the other side. So there's a beautiful, what we call Littleton Harbour, and our Crater Rim, which is some wonderful places for students to mountain bike and outdoor recreation, that sort of thing. Again, just a few shots of our city here. Christchurch is what we like to refer to as New Zealand's newest city. And the reason for that, there's been a lot of rebuilding going on in the central city over the past 10 years. So Christchurch has really changed face. I mean, I'm born and bred in Christchurch. And when I go into the city now, I don't recognise the city from the city when I was young. So it's evolving all the time, an amazing place to be. Now, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the university itself. So with Lincoln University, just a few quick facts. So to get it in perspective, Lincoln is a small university. We have a student population of around 3,500 students. So we are the smallest of all the New Zealand universities. And of that, we're around about 40% international in terms of student numbers. So again, it's quite small, but we have quite a high proportion of international students. So in the QS rankings, this is a ranking that we like to talk about, and comparing apples with apples. So we are a small university, and the QS rankings has a small university category, and that is defined as a university with less than 5,000 students. So Lincoln ranks number 18 in the world. And I think that is important to state there, because Lincoln is not the same size of like the likes of even Otago or Waikato or any other New Zealand university. We're very small, we're very specialised. So I think it's sort of unfair to compare us, you know, pound for pound against the larger university. So this puts it into perspective as where Lincoln sort of sits in the world in terms of you're looking for that smaller university option, and you can be assured you've got a good range of quality here at Lincoln. And overall, we also rank within the top 1.5% of universities globally. Also, I think, which is another important thing that particularly South American students may be interested in, is, you finish your qualification, you're looking about the prospect of employment. And at Lincoln, we have a higher graduate employment rate compared to all the other New Zealand universities. And I think that's predominantly down to what we teach and the disciplines that we teach at Lincoln. New Zealand is basically an agricultural-based export economy. And at Lincoln, we are known as New Zealand's specialist land-based university. So a lot of our programs align to the types of jobs that are available in New Zealand and jobs that are in demand in terms of food production and export. And again, we have a higher percentage of graduates. And I think that's probably because we don't have a wide range of courses that we teach, and our courses are very much, we keep in touch with industry in terms of what industry demands in terms of graduates. And we have a good reputation in the areas that we do deliver programs with our industry partners. So students normally don't have too much trouble in finding jobs. So Lincoln itself, we have a history of 142 years. As I mentioned before, we're quite small, 3,500 students. I think with our small size plays to our advantage. Lincoln is well known for experiential learning across particularly our undergraduate programs, but also in postgraduate as well. And we're quite research intensive at the postgraduate level as well. As you can see there from the slide, we have 3 faculties, agriculture and life sciences, agribusiness and commerce, and environment, society and design. And as you can see, we're quite limited in the range of courses that we offer. And all those disciplines that are listed below there, we can deliver from bachelor through to master's, PhD. So I'm just going to keep moving through. Now, I put this slide up because I kind of thought this was important to share with you guys, is this pathway visa. And this is just from my experience in dealing with students particularly from South America. Most students will need to meet the English language requirement. And some students may be looking at the fees in coming to New Zealand and feeling like the fees, particularly for the master's students, are quite high. So through the pathway visa option, you can get a visa for the English language component, so you can meet the English language requirement for your future study, whether it be a bachelor or master's or PhD. But you get visa for duration of both programs. But you only need to pay the tuition fee up front for the English language component. So whereas if you're coming to study directly into a master's program or a bachelor's program, there'd be the expectation from immigration that you are paying maybe up to a year of tuition up front. So this financially is a better option for potential students where they look to meet the English language requirement in New Zealand. We have an English language school on campus in the centre of our university that provides a non-IELTS pathway. And then you can move seamlessly into your master's, your bachelor's or your PhD program. But with the confidence that you've got your visa for the duration of both programs. And this has been a common conversation that I've had with a lot of South American applicants that have applied in the past. And I think financially is one of the better options. And I know this is maybe not relevant to Lincoln, but I think it's quite relevant for South American students looking to come to a New Zealand university. Also, once you're in the master's program at Lincoln, you only need to pay the fee semester by semester. You don't need to pay the full fee up front. Okay. And what I'm going to end with, and as I said, I'm keeping this quite short because I'd like to encourage some dialogue at the end of this through some Q&A. I've just highlighted some master's programs that we get a lot of interest from students from South America and from Brazil as well. So firstly is the Masters of Management and Agribusiness. This is what we call a taught masters or a coursework masters. So this is delivered over 3 semesters, can be completed in 12 to 18 months. We have, for this program, 3 intakes, February, July, November. And the tuition, as you can see there, is in New Zealand dollars. We have an automatic $10,000 scholarship that is considered on application. So what we are looking for from students is equivalency of a B+ average in the final year of their bachelor degree. I know this is a bit of extra detail, but I think it's I find in my conversations with students, this is something that they're interested to hear. This is a really popular program, particularly from students from South America. And it's a program, again, agribusiness and relating to our agricultural background. And the New Zealand economy is very relevant. And there's good job prospects at the end of this. Another program, Masters of Science and Food Innovation. Again, it's a 3-semester coursework masters. You would study 3 courses per semester. Again, you can see we have multiple intakes available every year. The tuition fee, similar to the same program, and the scholarship that's available there. We do have other scholarships at the bachelor level, but they're small, of around $3,000 to $5,000 for the first year. We don't have scholarships that continue in years 2 and 3. And the last program I just wanted to bring up was the Masters of Environmental Policy and Management. Again, another taught masters coursework. And you can see we just have 2 intakes there, February and July. I just brought up these 3 programs because I find that we tend to, on average, these programs tend to be more popular with our South American students, and the taught masters seems to be the popular option. We can also offer in any of these sort of discipline areas a PhD program as well. And I'm not sure if you guys are aware that with PhD students can qualify for domestic fees. So Lincoln University, in a nutshell, as I said before, it's known as New Zealand Specialist Land-Based University, really the specialisation, all fields of agriculture, environmental science, environmental management. I'll throw in there agribusiness and tourism management as well. Look, thank you for the time. I'm just going to hand this back to Danny, and we look forward to answering some questions that you may have.
Well, thank you very much, Gillian. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Alex. Thank you all for sharing so much information with us and with everyone that is online. There is a lot of information, and I hope everyone is actually happy to hear from you. And now it's time to answer questions. So if everyone has any questions to them, I will actually I will ask them in Portuguese. So, se vocês tiverem qualquer tipo de pergunta, fique à vontade. Eu queria encorajá-los a, por favor, escrever no nosso chat as perguntas que vocês tiverem, para que eu possa passar aí para os nossos convidados, para que eles possam responder, tá? I have one question here from one attendee. It's about a PhD student, and any of you will be able to help me on that. She wants to know if a PhD student in New Zealand can do an internship, okay, in an industry partner, or if this is available only for a student that is doing a master degree or an undergraduate program.
Cool, I'll jump in there, and
All
then the others can add anything if they like. So the way that an internship or an industry placement is kind of the compulsory unit at our university is it is a paper, what we call a paper or a subject that a student would enroll in, which they would receive credit for, and it would then be part of their kind of overall credits or points that they would need to obtain in their degree. The PhD program is a research-based program, and the outcomes or the graduate outcomes usually do not include what we would call as a traditional industry experience. However, the very nature of PhD and research is that they are engaging with industry, engaging with students, engaging with different organisations to form part of their research and the thesis that they would produce at the end. So while it might not be something that they receive strict credit for, it would very much be part of their PhD program, and they would be able to talk about that experience when going to an employer. We do have a program, however, called the Employability Plus program, and this is available to any student pre-degree through to PhD. It's a program that is organised by the university, and it does include components of industry experience and volunteering, which would then transfer to a student's transcript when they complete the program at the end. So I guess not in the direct sense, but there would be opportunities, but it might not be something that the student receives a credit for. I don't know if the others had anything to add to that.
Does anyone have any things to?
Yeah, I'll add a little bit. It just obviously depends on the field that they're looking to do their PhD in, and I can only really talk around agriculture. We have ag research, plant and food, land care research, which are New Zealand Crown Institutes, so basically across the road from our university. So a lot of our PhD students studying in that sort of agricultural or environmental area, sometimes they'll have a co-supervisor who is a scientist at, say, ag research or plant and food, where, and it's just really luck of the draw in terms of there could be an ongoing project that the university has with the Crown Research Institute, which they're looking to staff with PhD students. So therefore they would be based at the Crown Research Centre, conducting their PhD research, working alongside the scientists. So that's kind of, I know it's not strictly, it's not like an internship. Well, it kind of is in some ways, but that means they're actively sort of working with, with scientists in an industry setting. But it's really dependent on what they're wanting to study and what's available at the time.
I think it's also when you are doing a PhD in New Zealand, they are allowed to work full time. Yeah, so they don't need to do an internship. They will be working full time, researching, doing their research, and they are allowed to have another. They are allowed to have another job if they want to as well, to support themselves in the industry if they can manage. So I'll just try to explain them in Portuguese. O que a gente está falando disso é que se vocês, como o PhD, dá a possibilidade, o estudante que tem o visto do PhD, ele dá a permissão de trabalho, a permissão de trabalho é full time para os estudantes que têm o PhD. Então, não existe a necessidade dessa preocupação de ter um estágio na indústria, né? Então, se vocês conseguirem se organizar com um trabalho na indústria e a pesquisa na universidade, não tem problema nenhum, é que é full on, né? É muita coisa dentro da universidade para pesquisar. Mas espero que a gente tenha conseguido responder a pergunta, acho que da Carla, né? I have another question about architecture. Does any of, though I know that Lincoln doesn't have architecture, does Waikato or Otago? No, I don't think no. Nenhuma dessas universidades.
Landscape architecture only, not buildings, but landscape is our specialization.
Yeah, do you have a PhD in?
Yes.
Yes.
Landscape, but it has to specialize in landscape, and there would be an expectation that the student has completed a master's specifically in landscape architecture.
Okay, so Wesley, se você tiver interesse em landscape, você queria saber sobre PhD, né? A Lincoln University tem landscape architecture, não é arquitetura por si só. Outras universidades na Nova Zelândia possuem arquitetura, mas não hoje aqui, né? Então a gente tem aí o PhD, mas para que você faça um doutorado dentro de Landscape Architecture na Lincoln, você precisa ter feito um mestrado, a Master's by Research, Gillian, or Master's by, can be a taught master.
Yeah, it would need to be a Master's of Research with a minimum of, say, 6 months research within that master's degree. Yeah.
Tá, ok. Tem que ser um um mestrado de pesquisa dentro da área para que você consiga, tá? Cristóvão, a Ana já teve que sair, né? Lauren, there is a student here with an offer for 2022 semester 1 starts. And he said that he wants to know if there is any scholarships or facilitation on payment. I will actually ask him to he wants to know if he can pay you installments or things like that, but I'll actually ask him to...
Maybe send an email. I'll put my email in the chat.
Yeah. Cristóvão, é melhor você escrever direto para a Lauren, tá? Eu não sei se você fez isso pela Australian Center. A Australian Center pode te ajudar com isso. Se não, eu acho melhor você escrever direto para a Lauren, tá bom? Como sou professor no Brasil, a possibilidade de trabalho na área de educação. He's a teacher in Brazil and he wants to know if he could start working at the education, work as an educator in New Zealand. Does anyone can help me on that?
I think with any of the professional registrations, things like that, it would need to go through like the Teachers Council or Association or whatever it's called. So it's the same with like medicine or law, where you're registered with a central body. So they would need to get in touch with New Zealand Teaching Council to see what equivalent or what registration needed to be done in New Zealand to be able to teach in New Zealand.
Ok, então, espero que você tenha atendido aí a resposta da Lauren tenha sido satisfatória aí para você, mas tem que entender direitinho a sua qualificação no Brasil, o tipo de qualificação que é necessária para que você seja um educador na Nova Zelândia, e aí a gente tenta fazer as equivalências, né? There is another question here about law school. An anonymous attendee is asking if his law school in Brazil would have some kind of value in New Zealand, even as a minimum. Well, we don't have a common law in Brazil, so it's quite different. So
The legal systems are very different. Law in New Zealand is an undergraduate degree, so there is a first year component, and then it's competitive entry to get into what we call second year. And then essentially if you complete your law degree in New Zealand, you would then be admitted to the bar. So you'd have to do your like professional legal studies to be admitted as a barrister and solicitor of the High Court of New Zealand. And then if people wanted to go back to work overseas, they apply, like the Teaching Council example, you could go back and you apply to the relevant governing body. In terms of postgraduate, we do have a Master of Laws, which is a research only, but students would need to have a law degree already, so an undergraduate law degree, so they could be eligible to apply for the research masters, or something like the Master of Bioethics and Health Law, which is a combination of the science, so bioethics and law as well.
Okay. Is this open, the applications for PhDs for the first intake 2021? Is it open for all universities, for all 3 universities?
I know for Otago it is, so they can still apply, and some students can, it's possible to start their PhD online until borders open. Is that the same as Julian and Alex?
Same for us, yeah.
Yeah, Julian as
Same
well,
for,
yeah.
Yeah, same for us, but PhDs can start any month at Lincoln.
Okay.
They don't need to be restricted to the traditional intakes.
Okay,
Yeah,
and is there scholarships available, even though we know that we have those specific, not specific, but we have domestic prices, but are there scholarships available as well?
Yep, so we have it is a competitive scholarship though, I will say, and it is based on academic merit as well as references and the student's kind of intended study area, but it is awarded up to $75,000 across the 3 years, which covers the domestic fee plus a living cost, which is paid on a monthly stipend to students. So it's $25,000 per year across 3 years. Per year,
all right.
Tuition fees.
That's great, good.
Yeah, and if I could just say, we also have a scholarship, limited though, but it's competition for both international and domestic to apply for. But the closing date is August for the following year. So the closing date for next year is already passed.
All right. Okay, I have 2 more questions, otherwise it's already a bit late. So last 2 questions. So I have Andresa here. She wants to know the opportunities to work as a researcher assistant or professor assistant at the university during the PhD. Is there any opportunities for international students?
There are. I think sometimes, I mean, the PhD in New Zealand is very different, particularly to the likes of somewhere like the USA, where the PhD is longer and part of their PhD is teaching. That's not so traditional in New Zealand, but many students would be involved in things like tutoring. So they could, I know a number of PhD students who are doing those smaller tutorials, or they may do the occasional guest lecture or help with research projects with other academics and departments. Depending on the area of the PhD, there are also other grants and opportunities. So if there are research grants and academics need, again, a research assistant or assistant teaching fellow or something like that, then there are certainly opportunities, but it's not the typical structure that a PhD student gets allocated a teaching portfolio or anything like that. But it is quite common to be able to do some of that extra tutorial or research assistant work.
Okay, yeah. Well, I think that's it. I had another last question, but I asked her back something and she didn't reply me back. So when she replies me back, I will be able to answer that. So, okay, Leticia, yeah. Leticia wants to know if with her diploma in, she has a diploma in engineering. She did a bachelor in engineering in Brazil, and she wants to know if she can do a master's degree in science or environmental studies. It's possible, yeah?
Absolutely. Yeah,
it's possible. Yeah.
Programs are very open, things like environmental science. If you've got, you know, a science background, many of them can come from any disciplines, but there are also bridging opportunities like a diploma for graduates if it was really far from what they'd studied, but it's definitely possible.
Letícia, a gente pode te ajudar, a gente consegue dar uma olhada nos pré-requisitos dos cursos que você quiser fazer e dependendo da especialização que você quiser, a gente olha o pré-requisito e te ajuda mostrando os cursos que você consegue fazer com o seu diploma de graduação em engenharia. Não é um problema, tá? A gente consegue te ajudar sim e não vai ser nenhum problema. Well, I think that's it. A lot of questions. So it's a bit late. Sorry guys for keeping you that late. I think this was quite good. And it shows us that we have to do more. So thank you very much, Alex, Lauren, Julian. Thank you very much. Muito obrigada a todos vocês que ficaram aqui com a gente esse tempinho aí, participaram, fizeram as perguntas. Espero que a gente tenha conseguido fazer aí um evento bacana, trazer mais conhecimento para vocês e espero que a gente consiga fazer outros eventos como esse, trazendo mais informações. Amanhã tem mais, amanhã a gente tem a Victoria University of Wellington, Master University, o Luiz Fernando Correia, do nosso departamento de vistos, falando sobre outras possibilidades de vistos, a Ana Azevedo de novo, falando aí do Governo da Nova Zelândia, eu mais uma vez, a C. Espero que vocês tenham gostado. Amanhã o nosso Facebook vai estar aí, ó, top. E thank you again for you all. Muito da Kátia, muito obrigada Keila, da equipe da AC, que está aí com a gente, me ajudando. Guys, I will get in touch with you again. Thank you very much for your time. And that's it.
Thank you so much, Danny.
Thanks, Danny.
I really appreciate your time.
No, thanks, Danny.
The Prime Minister's just out on the front lawn, so I might go and have a...
Oh, okay. Just tell the Prime Minister, please, to open the borders for
I will.
To go to New Zealand. Yeah, because we really need to go to New Zealand. We need to travel again, you know. Just tell him that we are very safe, that we are not have to travel, you know. We miss a lot.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great day. And boa noite para todo mundo. Tchau, tchau. Beijo grande. Obrigada. Tchau.
Tchau, tchau.
Bye.
Bye.